Kelly and Varco in the centre square. They've got to start getting the ball around the clearances, Geelong, if they're to get back in the game.
Umpire Donlan, who's been sending it a long way. The umpire backs off. It's still not down. He's travelled about 15 metres. You saw Cox, a little practice jump, like a practice swing in golf, and we'll have another bounce.
What Geelong need to be really mindful of is Cox's ability to spread away from the stoppage. Brad Ottens went after the ball on hands and knees. Cox went forward. Need to be mindful of that.
Cox has been very good that time. Ottens beat him. It's built behind. Varco tries to soccer it forward. Wojcinski bounces around nicely, pushes aside an opponent there, gives it eventually to a teammate. He kicked it down towards half forward, but eventually it's the West Coast Eagles who bring it out. And it comes to Kennedy. Kennedy just forward of the wing. Got it from Embley.
Had a quiet opening turn, but kicked a really important goal, Kennedy. And that high ball, Naitanui the target, worked underneath by Lonergan. Taylor takes a good mark. So the Cats really having to hold their nerve. Taylor's backtrack the wrong way for him. It's not 15. Gee, Lonergan was lucky, got away from Naitanui. I don't think Nick knew what was going on for the moment. And then Hunt with a very dangerous kick, cut off by a bloke who can kick a goal even though he plays down back. Well, that was really stretching it by Hunt. I mean, he's looked up, he's gone bang. Had to be a good mark.
Yes, Freely Johnson had to be actually heading to the boundary line to give him an outside player to kick to. Back in the middle, intercept, shot at goal.
So Smith, who kicked 2 goals against Carlton last fortnight in their last match, gets the goal, and West Coast dominating now.
Be finding a centre bounce crew there, I think, Geelong. They've got to really start winning it in close if they're to win it on the scoreboard. Who do you reckon their best clearance players? Who should be putting in there?
Well, I'd inject some speed through there. Varco, you wouldn't say is their best clearance player, but at least he's got the burst to go through it. They look a bit pedestrian through the middle of the ground at the moment. Here's a player on screen that they'd love to have in the middle of the ground. I think Geelong need to get some speed through the middle of the ground. Travis Varco starts there now, but sorely missing Joel Selwood.
Margin 16 points. We're back in the middle. Cox with the run, knocks it down. Prittis have it back to Cox, who missed the footy. Kelly ricochets around in there. Scott Selwood dragged down by Kelly, and we'll have a ball up. Now, the last 7 scoring shots in the game, 5 goals, 2 to the West Coast Eagles. And interesting too with Hunt and that kick coming out. We made the point they were just kicking in hope. Geelong bringing it out of defence, so maybe as a response to his coach's pleading, he decided to look for somebody, but the kick didn't find a teammate. Podsiadly got hands to that one, didn't complete the mark. Hearn runs away from him to Embley, who was very busy in the opening quarter. Embley at right half back. Wants to chance his arm, goes directly across the ground, and the spread is on. McKenzie's got it. Wide is still not a good kick. McGinnity out-positioned because of that kick by Wojcinski, but McGinnity stayed on his feet, gave it to Rosa. Little short one comes into Prittis.
Then Prittis round the corner to Cox. Gee, that was poor play by Wojcinski a moment ago. He really made a mistake there. Cox long, Darling, yep. And play on, and they'll get another one. McCoskey's got 2. It's raining goals for the Eagles.
Well, I must say, Tom, you're 200 centimetres, and you know you've got to actually compete in the ruck work. But when you're playing against Cox, it's speaking like playing against another midfield runner. And Brad Ottens is looking so cumbersome when Eagles get the ball and Cox takes off into space. He gave that extra player to get the ball deep in the forward line. They're just running Geelong off their legs.
That's exactly what it was, Lee. Just the spread of Dean Cox to move away from Ottens to set up the goal. Outstanding.
Well, Darling's just been a wonderful first-year player. He attacks the ball really hard. Just see him in the air here. He's got great awareness, too, for a young player. Quickly gets the ball onto Nikoski. But the real difference in the two sides in the early part of this game is how quickly the West Coast Eagles are able to actually slingshot the ball back out of Geelong's forward line.
Cox wins it decisively, at least directionally. Taken by Wojcinski, back to Enright. Enright hasn't got a lot of the football so far. Towards half forward, Duncan goes back after it, shows courage, lays it off to Ling. Ling inside the forward 50. Potsy Adley did well, he was outnumbered, came, found the football on the ground, goes back to Duncan, running out of space. Barely kept it in. Smith to Hearn. Hearn tried to thread it through to Priddis. It came to Ling. It was smothered off the boot. Priddis did brilliantly. It comes across to Embley from Cox to the wing now. And Swift has got it at the interchange gates. Swift looking down towards half forward. Plenty of Geelong players falling back. Kennedy, I think, blinded by the light. Right on the boundary line, just escorted across.
Just the intensity the Eagles are playing at the moment. This is probably typifies it, just didn't quite make the contact there.
But lucky he didn't make contact.
Very lucky. But their energy at the contest from the Eagles at the moment is just outstanding.
So the free kick. So again, against Otten, so Scott Selwood looked up, and I think he thought he might have given it away. Gee whiz, I mean, okay, long ball by Hearn to full forward. Hunt belted it away. The other Hunt ridden into the ground, and then Enright caught up. Honestly, if that's a free kick in the ruck, I'll go here. Anyway, it's a bounce about 15 metres out.
But just watch I agree with you on that one, Bruce, but then you watch the ball get inside their forward 50 and just the swarm of Eagles. 9-zip now, the inside 50 tackles, quite outstanding.
Otten's a good tackle, and then Hunt belts it away. Gee, Ebert was brave. Duncan held up. McGinnity belts the ball back. Lacroix takes off and marks it. Geelong's fallen apart before our very eyes in the last 20 minutes.
You don't have to be told to be a go-to player. You just got to be a player who realises when the ball's in the air and I can mark it, then I go for it. Lacroix is exactly that. They're prepared to drive the ball in long and deep, test the Geelong defence. But the Eagles forwards in there are just finding their way to the footy.
Ebert's been the sub the last 3 weeks. He won't be for a while. The way he went down low then, that was just fantastic. And Lacroix kicks his second. And the Eagles have doubled the score. They've bolted away.
Yes, you're right about Brad Ebert too, who's always been on the fringe of the team a little bit. But the way he got himself to that ground level footy, just to draw the contest, was the kind of thing that the teammates expect of each other if you're going to be a good team.
We heard Lee Matthews talk about Mark Lacroix's ability to attract the ball. I played on him often as a defender. He's one of those players who can play tall and small, and if he gets a player who can't defend the mark, he'll exploit you every time.
Gibson 27 goals for this season now. He batted 63 last year, on his way to becoming an All-Australian. Priddis digs it out of the middle. Lacroix tracks it towards the boundary line. Hunt goes after him, and it goes out. Started his career wearing number 19, Mark Lacroix, but now looks very comfortable wearing Dean Kempsall number 2. Tossed in just outside the attacking 50 for the Eagles, stolen away by Kelly to Ling, who's trying hard, goes towards half forward, ill-directed. Adam Selwood takes the mark to Hearn. He's a master of the long kick, takes something off this one, down towards half forward, trying to pinpoint the ball. It was intended for Swift, who had to wait. It was not a bad kick. There was no margin for error out boundary side. Coming over the top, though, Taylor got a fist on it, knocked it out of bounds.
Certainly been the most...
need one. Come in and bump it. Stay there, Dane, stay there.
Well, it's going to be a free kick. Not sure what the explanation was, but Johnson finishes up with the footy.
Glass it was.
Steve Johnson has a low threshold to pushage as the ball goes towards the outer side. Coming through Wojcinski, tackled brilliantly by Kennedy, ripped away the football. As a result, it goes across to Swift, well won. Selwood too slow, Lucky still has the footy, then appeared to throw it. Johnson did well, Ling inside the centre circles, goes down towards half forward, Bartel, wonderful courage. With finesse, if you don't mind, he pulled the kick, Hearn. Gives it across towards Smith. Smith up towards the wing. In front, Lacroix on his way to the interchange bench. And Scarlett gets an angry fist on that one.
7 goals, 2-0 in the last 23 minutes of the match. Got to go back to the prelim final with Collingwood last year. I mean, it has happened so rarely to the Cats over the last 4 seasons. Naitanui brilliantly done. Swift, and now Naitanui runs all over the top of him. And then he has to get the footy back. He lost his GPS.
He's got it now. He just has the ball.
You have to be careful there, Naitanui. He may rue that running all over the top of Hunt. Speaking of Hunts, that's the other one. That kick to Duncan. Needs courage here. Running hard. Left foot. Can he finish? It's a behind. Geelong score for the first time in about 25 minutes.
Bruce, I just want to go back to that. You see Naitanui here running into Swift.
1-2 he wasn't expecting.
Just going back to that preliminary final, there's a real Collingwood feel about the way West Coast are playing at the moment. It's just that ferocious attack on the ball and the structural squeeze that they've become renowned for this year.
Shuey out of defence. Priddis getting a lot of the football again. What's new? Gives it across to Kerr. He shows a lot of the ball to Lonergan, but Ebert did well again. What a 50-50 ball at worst. Hand passes across towards Nikoski. Nikoski, the long ball inside the forward 50. 2 Cats there. Not exposed for him tonight. They'll need them both. Enright over the top. Hunt running out of space along the boundary line. Taken by Taylor. Well inventive. Gives it to Ling. Ling inside. Lonergan gone. Front and back taken high. Wow. Just dodged a bullet. Didn't dodge the whack.
Well, he milked the Ebert one up the front, didn't he? But fraction high. So Lonergan, Naitanui in the frame. Vardy at the back. Corey roved it well. Kicks the ball forward. West Coast will get the numbers back. Johnson, the little give, but straight away to McKenzie, to Kerr, who had a spectacular opening. Quite a well done, Kerr. Looked up, found Schofield. Schofield tucks it under his arm. Runs his full measure. Lovely kick with the back. Beautiful to Nikoski. Now Nikoski all on his own. Across the ground is Swift. And Swift goes in and kicks another one. How good is this?
Every now and again you watch a game of footy and you think, let's count them. How many have we got on each team? Because everywhere the ball goes, the Eagles seem to have the extra player. They are just covering the ground so much better, getting to the right spots, getting to the right holes. 9 goals before halfway through the second quarter against Geelong's defence. That's really good scoring.
Just an absolute weight of numbers from West Coast. The build-up started when the ball went into Geelong's forward 50, and it was 3-on-1 to Steve Johnson. Repelled the ball, and it looks like there are more Eagles out there. Just it is ferocious.
They're just covering the ground, aren't they? Just getting there to support teammates, to pressure the opposition.
Rucks go at it. Naitanui hung in the air, got it down to Priddis again. Immediately tackled and taken down, and the umpire will call it up. Interesting, a lot has been made of the press and the West Coast Eagles employing that, but they were the worst kicking side in the competition by a huge margin last year. And suddenly this season they're kicking like Bruce Lee and they haven't looked back. The ball goes out wide, taken by Embley. Embley towards the attacking 50. Kennedy got into his power move as he got to the football. Well played, comes back on the left boot. Ebert in front. This is embarrassing now for the Cats. The trendsetters are wobbling at the knees and about to go down.
You mentioned disposal efficiency, Dennis. That was the thing that I think won the game for Essendon last week. They worked well. They had great work rate. They kicked the ball well, and the Eagles doing the same tonight.
Brad Ebert misses. No easy kick that one. Sliding it across the face. 60 plays 26 midway through the second term on a Friday night in Perth.
You mentioned that Collingwood game was 85-23 at half-time in that prelim final. And Geelong were helpless that night, and you feel like they are right now. Long kick by Hunt. Ling has tried hard, bouncing the ball forward. Glass got a dodgy bounce. McKenzie so impressive in his comeback game last week. McGinnity, well, that was a poor handball to Selwood. Vardy to Kelly. Can he break the tackle and get a handball? He does. Well, Christensen left before the footy got to him. Duncan looks up, good smother, all happening for the Eagles, boundary throw-in.
We've seen that hard work from the Eagles all night, but just to pick up Dennis's point, it's just been buzzed in my ear that they're running at 84% their disposal efficiency right now, the West Coast Eagles, which is quite outstanding.
Well, if someone had told you that a year ago they were capable of doing that, they would have put you in the straitjacket.
Who were those imposters?
They lost 50 games in the last 3 seasons, as many as Melbourne. No other team lost as many games as West Coast in 08, 09 and 10.
Same jumper, different performances.
It's extraordinary. It's one of the great mysteries, I think, of the last 50 years of VFL/AFL footy. And may it continue. We're loving it. As the kick by Menzel from Chapman. Good effort at the back by McKenzie. And then Selwood running it out, boundary throw-in. Did anybody have West Coast out of the bottom 4 at the start of the year?
Yeah, I thought they were one of the 2 or 3 teams that couldn't play final, so we've certainly a long way from that.
I think I had them a bit higher, actually, but...
We just ripped them up now.
Only
We're just trying to ignore them.
I had them higher because of geography. I live here. Priddis, hand pass to Embley. Embley sends the ball up towards the wing. Taylor has to wait. Well done, Ebert came hard. Darling, was he taken high? Apparently not. Spills to Menzel. He wanted too much time as well, and he threw the football. They can't take a trick. Ebert, deserving of a kick. He ran hard to make sure he got to the contest and just got the ball out of there. Kicks it along the wing. In front, Naitanui. Priddis, brilliantly done. Just waiting, camped in front to Darling, pushed as he kicked, and this one goes out of bounds. So Priddis is really rolling. Once he had 11 possessions, I venture to say most in this term.
Geelong through Ling and Chapman, and now Taylor Hunt. That's a poor kick. Hearn to cut it off. Varco to pressure. Back to McGinnity. And then McGinnity back to Hearn. And then Hearn looks up, controls the leg and finds Shuey.
I reckon that passage of play sums up the difference between the Eagles this year and last year. I would hazard a guess in that exact same situation. They just would have bombed the ball in. But the composure to lower the eyes. Just see the use here. Great work by McGinnity to fill the space defensively. And then follow up and just drop the eyes. Hearn it is actually.
McGinnity involved earlier. So Shuey kicked a lovely goal from about this distance and angle, didn't he, in the opening term?
Got the one that got them started when they were struggling to get on the board.
Let's see if he can do it again. What did you say, Shuey on your boot? Wow.
Shoe in.
That's it. They were $21 to go top before tonight, and Geelong were $3.50.
Well, they're a long way from the top of the ladder, that's for sure, the Eagles. But gee, they're after a top 4 spot, and the way they're going tonight, they'll be right on the doorstep of that after this round.
Just seeing Cox there on screen. The Eagles ruckmen are now controlling this game. He and Naitanui. So confident too now are the Eagles midfielders that they're now moving into attacking positions and just confidently anticipating where the ball's going to go.
Cox wins another one, just laying it down. Bartel read it best though. Hand passes to Chapman. Back it comes to Wing. Breaks away from centre field. Goes down towards half forward. Christensen had the arms chopped. Will take the free kick. So the last 14 inside 50s for the West Coast Eagles have yielded 9 goals, 3. Christensen goes across the ground. Nice kick. Taylor Hunt comes up and marks it. And on the mark is right on the 50. Hunt takes something off it. It's going to fall in short. Bartel came at it, pitched in front of him, bounced past him. Plenty of Eagles around the football. Embley's got it, tries to dig it out of there. Well, that was the option play. Went with the fist initially, then kicked it. It bounces outside the 50, close to the boundary line, and trickles out. Like an obedient dog, will have a throw in.
Ottens and Cox. 50-50. Priddis so good in the clearances. Hard ball stuff. Kerr the same. And that time, well, again, that football working well. Refused to go out. And Kerr, who we'll hear from at half-time, he does a one-on-one with Nick Naitanui. Looking forward to that.
Damning statistic on both sides of that shows West Coast's willingness to work away, but also Geelong's inability to mark the ball and defend the ball.
So Cox goes to ground, Otten's over the top, and another ball up. 9 consecutive goals to the Eagles. It's hard to imagine, isn't it?
And we see the top of screen there. The Eagles have got Hearn as that spare man back in their back 50. So a good setup here. You can't find the Geelong spare, and you can clearly see the Eagles spare.
Corey was the third man up. Scott Selwood's handball slow, but Emily rode the tackle. He knew it was coming. Back towards Selwood. Now Christensen.
Just jams it across to Joel Corey. So many of the trump cards for Geelong very quiet tonight. Ling's not one of them. Got it from Ottens. Kicks inside the forward 50 and going back Bartel. Saw Chapman in the play moments ago. Realised we haven't called his name much in the second term. Jimmy Bartel will line up from about 30 metres out. They're down by 40. Approaching half-time. Having said that, the scoreboard flatters them. This has been a mismatch. Bartel, kick is on the way. Lovely kick by the Brownlow medalist. Puts it through.
It's an understatement to say that goal was required. If we're just having a look at some of the stats, the inside 50 is the one that stands out the most, 25 to 14. Still 14, they've had the 7 scoring shots, Geelong, from their 14 entries, so it's been dangerous when in. Just haven't been able to get the ball in at all.
And Geelong have been a little bit better in the clearances. They've broken even so far this quarter, but yeah, that spread, that's killing them, isn't it? When Eagles get the ball, they spread so much quicker.
Ling has been good.
Just got caught under the ball here, Smith. He just had to try and back that little bit harder, but Bartel knew exactly what he's doing. Just held his line, stopped him coming back.
Use the forearm. So 34 minutes since the Geelong goal, and they bring the margin back, coincidentally, to 34 points. Selwood rode the tackle. Kelly gets the ball out quickly to a one-on-one. Ottens couldn't quite. Now Mackenzie, Podsiadly had a fair bit of a jumper by the look of it. Well played, Glass. Hearn. Bartel gets him down. And it'll be ball.
Going with the 2 tall forwards in that particular setup. Ottens starting deep forward and Podsiadly. So at least giving themselves an opportunity to have a target to kick to, and a good follow-up there by Jimmy Bartel.
So Ottens at the back of Cox, and then Chapman goes to ground, and Selwood wants the boundary. Kelly, well, he was almost out, and then impossible almost to keep it in. Kicks the ball out on the full.
When Kelly kicked it, a few of the West Coast Eagles were appealing for out of bounds where Kelly kicked it from, but quickly withdrew their appeals. Just across the boundary line, further afield, but gave West Coast the ball back, and Hearn drives it outside the defensive 50. Lonergan launches himself from behind and fists it out of bounds.
Since Geelong average 11 goals against, well, it's 10 before half-time. Eston kicked 18 last week against him, so they've had a bad game and a half in terms of conceding scores.
What they need, the Cats, is the next 2 goals. Just get things back to a manageable situation. As crazy as it sounds, that would make the margin 22 points. And not all would be lost. So the next 5.5 minutes, absolutely vital as far as Geelong are concerned. The rival coaches on the left, the face of vindication, John Worsfold. Cox got a hand to it. Lunging in there, Ottens to Bartel. Bartel hooks it around the corner. Lunging at the ball. Well, that was Ottens. Who was it further afield? It must have been Vardy. Meantime, this is Joel Corey around the corner. Intercepted Priddis' hand pass. Johnson, the beneficiary, hooks it down towards full forward. It bounces out of bounds.
But you're right about that extra goal or two, because one thing Geelong would have a great belief in themselves that despite being behind, they can keep fighting and pick up a margin.
Well, it's where they want it at the moment. Deep in their forward 50. Corey had it smothered by Glass. Well played. And then Emily able to clear it to Kerr. Nat Nui might be on here. This could be really exciting. Nat Nui and Lonergan about 50 metres from here. The kick to Lonergan's advantage. Nat Nui did pretty well. Lonergan played it well. Good give. Duncan had to take it cleanly. He knew the posse was coming, and Nat Nui was at the head of the posse. And now it's a ball up.
Mitch Duncan really let Tom Lonergan down there. He made the play, fantastic play by the big defender to cut off The interceptor, Naitanui follow-up, gave the handball to Duncan, just needed to be cleaner.
So West Coast get it out of that 50, and then Naitanui, that clearing thump over the back. Eberts had a terrific opening term, and then hard Kelly on Kerr and a boundary throw-in.
We just saw the best of Naitanui, that ability to jump, punch the ball clear into space. When really he had to, when Kerr had the foot, he had to actually give him a better lead, but he just didn't really know where to go to get to the right spot.
Vardy taps it down. Corey. Stokes over the shoulder. Taylor in trouble. Johnson. Christensen comes and meets the footy, immediately claimed by Kerr. They'll have a ball up.
Great experience play there by Daniel Kerr. He knew he wasn't going to influence the contest by getting it, so he just took half a step back, waited for Christensen to get the ball and lock it in with a strong tackle.
Just get the feeling Geelong lifting a little. Christensen finds a way through. Stokes, Kelly takes a while into the path of Varco. Two speedsters here for the Cats, certainly. Varco, Wojcinski back to Varco. He's about 80 metres from goal. Chapman needs to go. There's some holding, and a free kick is going to Ottens.
You're holding him, Eric.
Wasn't it amazing? A bit of size on the forward line, and suddenly defenders get a little nervous.
Yes, there's a big man, isn't he, Ottens? The last 2 or 3 times the ball's gone in there, you can see the Eagles defenders are really grappling to try and make sure he can't force his way to the footy. So it was only a matter of time, I think, before an umpire found one of those holes forward of the footy.
We talked about 2 before half-time. Well, here's a big chance. Ottens comes in, straight through the middle.
There's no doubt when you've got someone of just the sheer size of an Ottens or a Cox or a Naitanui down the other end as a defender, when you're working in so much space, you do get a little bit nervous, there's no doubt about it. And when the ball's coming in thick and fast, your first instinct, I guess, is survival and to try and latch on and hang on for dear life, when the best way to obviously play it is to stand off and attack the footy in the air.
Well, after 9 West Coast goals in 28 minutes, the Cats have just been able to slow them down and kick a couple themselves. So Ottens important there in the forward 50.
Block with the arm out. Don't cross the line. Have your arm out.
And now back in the centre, giving away a free kick to Naitanui.
They've looked dangerous, I thought, with Ottens in the forward line. I wonder if Vardy can do much more of the ruck work in there.
Lonergan pushed out, Scarlett held up, and then Kennedy over the back. Priddis, well played, fetching the footy and trying to get it out.
I mean, you would think that both Cox and Naitanui, they just look like they're out rucking. Ottens, you wonder whether just to use Vardy as a little bit of a tagging type ruckman and use Ottens' bulk up forward in the majority.
So Ottens just probably wins that, laying it down. Johnson getting over the top. Hard ball to be won. Eagles with their hands on it. Then Josh Hunt gets hold of it. And again a ball up. So critical the last 3 minutes. A goal either way makes a huge difference to this match.
Ottens has given away 4 free kicks too. He likes to body up. That's his go right there. That's his natural habitat. Don't give them a run. It comes out wide of the pack, taken by Rosa. Just gives it off to Smith, to Schofield. Schofield back inside the forward 50. 4 plays 2. One of the 4 won it down. It was Taylor. Hunt intercepted by Naitanui. Ebert is through. Ebert goes with the outside of the boot. That is a knee trembler. Gee, that hurts.
He provides so much visual pressure, perceived pressure in the forward 50, Nick Naitanui, and just turned the ball over. Josh Hunt had a couple of nightmare moments, really. Turned the ball over by foot at the start of the quarter.
He tried to create out of defence, but they've lost their surety, haven't they, Geelong tonight, to work the ball out of defence in a constructive manner.
And that's become as a result of just the intense pressure that the forwards are putting on. Just see the numbers there from Geelong, and
just went straight to him.
You can't really explain how that can happen.
And natural left footer too. He could have come to our side, Hunt. I mean, that was the natural play.
As soon as you head back inside and then hand pass to the opponent, well, you're in trouble then.
I reckon Ebert deserved that goal. He's had a fantastic first half. So the Cats, all that hard work, that 10 minutes of graft by them counts for not so much right now.
Well, John Worsfold said in pre-game interview with Tim that they were going to play Ebert a fair bit in the forward line because they think he can mark the footy. And he has been an unusual forward, but he keeps jumping at the footy, making a contest.
So, Embley, good tackle, Ling.
In the back.
Well, not good tackle.
Andrew Embley, landed right his back, Cameron.
Heard the umpire's call. Lingy certainly has tried to lead from the front in this first half. Kick to half forward, Enright getting back. He would have hurt himself. High tackle by Kelly.
High tackle, straight up, James.
James,
let him have the footy.
They're the two top tacklers in the AFL together right now. Selwood number 1 and Kelly equal to with Jude Bolton. In terms of the averages, lays it off. LeCras bombs the ball. Cox gets set, can't quite. Josh Hunt got hold of it, and I think he got nervous. And it'll be a ball up. Being a bit facetious there.
I think you're right. Josh Hunt's given a couple away tonight. I reckon he might be a bit nervous with ball in hands.
At 47 to half-time. Right into the path of Naitanui. Swung a boot at it, missed. Pushed across the line by Lonigan.
Every defender's been in that situation when you've had one of those nights where you touch the ball and now he's got it obviously here. Take the safe one wide, but horrible place, particularly in the state of the ground like Patterson Stadium.
Scarlett coming up for his 5th possession. Sends it outside the defensive 50. Getting up, slapping it forward at the second attempt there was Schofield. Kerr has it. He's claimed. Another ball up then. What a half by the West Coast Eagles. Up by 35. Naitanui in the back of Ottens.
Push out, Brad Ottens. Let him go,
pretty close.
5 metres. Away.
Ottens to Johnson. Oh, Johnson with nothing to go to really except a couple of Eagles. Bounces it to Schofield. Smith. McGinnity, 75 metres out, long down towards full forward. Cox surrounded. Taylor got a fist on it. Enright goes back under pressure. Gives a hand pass off. Advantage is played. Wojcinski around the outer side. Varco. Well done by Varco. Hand passes forward again. Ling back to Wojcinski, who initiated the chain. One bounce. Runs the wing. Loops the hand pass over the top. Hitting it is Johnson. Moments ago had it across half back. Wojcinski has it. This deserves a goal. It won't get one.
Tight legs.
Yeah, well,
One of the way out here.
with good reason. Glass to Kerr. A couple of the veterans combined.
The Eagles maybe to hurt on the counter-attack. Embley to Ebert. He's got options here. Can he get it long enough in? He decides to go short. Darling. Again, there's options forward. Darling winds it up. Goes with a long one. Cox the target. Free kick. A lot of all Australians there together, weren't they, with Cox and Scarlett wrapping one another up. What a half of footy we've seen. For a half an hour, they were irresistible from halfway through that first quarter to halfway through the second. Geelong kicked a couple, but it was all slow motion compared with the Eagles. Half-time at Patterson Stadium on Friday Night Footy. It's West Coast 73 to Geelong 38.